Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome back to Tuesday Talks. This week, Julia was unable to sit in with us, but I have one of my other coworkers, Jeanine Montgomery, sitting in for her, and we're going to have a good time today on the show.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
All right. Do you want to talk about what your job title is and what you do at North Star?
Sure. I am also a victim advocate, and my coworkers have dubbed me the keeper of things, which translates to a technical term of donation coordinator. But we all wear many hats here, but that is my technical title, victim advocate and donation coordinator.
All righty. Well, last week, Julia and I took a Harry Potter quiz, and and it's just one of those personality quizzes, and it's just something fun and lighthearted to start out our show on. And so this week, in preparation, Jeanine took the Harry Potter quiz as well. So Jeanine, what house did you get?
Well, first, tell us what house you are.
Okay, so just a reminder, my house, I got Ravenclaw after Julia's assistance on that, because I am not familiar with the books or the movies, really.
I'm not either.
And so I got Ravenclaw, which some of those characteristics, like it's been kind of, I was looking at a few different sites of what the characteristics are just to make sure that they match up. And it pretty much, the same words kept showing up, like eccentric, oddball, unique, pretty much the weirdo. So that's great. You know, wisdom, intelligence. So yay, there's some good stuff about
outstanding
it. Outstanding intelligence. There we go.
She's the smarty. Well, I got Hufflepuff house, which is down to earth. The characteristics are down to earth, loyal, patient, trustworthy, hardworking, tolerant, humble, fair play, and accepting of everyone. So I kind of like that. I most of that is true to, I hope, but it's a very inclusive house. Sometimes it gets bad raps, I read, because of that, but it is the house that produced the fewest dark wizards throughout its history. So, hey, it's not all bad.
That's good. I didn't know that. Because I kind of thought all dark wizards came from Slytherin. But again, that's also, I'm unfamiliar with.
Right,
yeah.
right. But that was fun.
Yeah.
So what Harry Potter house are you, viewers? Comment below. Let us know.
Leave below. Well, today we have a cool, fun guest on here, and she actually wears a few different hats. So she is a career services specialist at Northwest Missouri State University, and fun fact, she's also a volunteer here at North Star. So she has a passion for helping those in the military as well with post-traumatic stress disorder, and then along with military, first responders, and law enforcement. So we're going to be talking about all of that today. She's going to be talking about all of that today. So with that, we're going to go ahead and bring in Lori Haws. Hey, Lori.
Hey, good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, thanks for agreeing to be on our show, Lori. Great to see you. Would you mind, or would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do at Northwest?
Absolutely. So I work in the Career Services Office, which is located in the administration building on the first floor. We help students get past that hump of finding internships or jobs. Internships are crucial. And as you know, you guys have multiple interns there every year, and we really appreciate that because that hands-on profession-based learning experience is critical for success. If you think of it as though we have our classroom experience at the college level and we kind of throw in the technical school piece, the hands-on, that's how I like to think of it. So internships are important. So what we do is we kind of break that job and internship search process down so it's not so scary. You know, students will come in and they're just in a panic. I don't have a job. I don't know how to find a job. The question is always, do you have a list of employers? No, I'll hand you a fishing pole instead of a fish. So we teach them to do the job searches, to get their resume and their cover letter, their CV or their grad school statement correct and looking good, and help them understand how to do that. We also help them how to do the job search because it's kind of an art. It's not really the luck of the draw, you know, and interviewing skills are something that's really scary, but it's really just a conversation with someone that you don't yet know, but you will at the end of the of the interview. So that's kind of what we do is I try to break it down into pieces, bite-sized pieces for students to be successful.
Very cool. So if you had to tell a student or somebody why should they come and utilize this service, what would you tell them?
Because it's awesome that you have this great degree, but now what are you going to do? You can't live in your mom's basement forever. So we need to move forward into the next step. So we have to understand how to cross that career bridge as opposed to just saying, I have a degree, look at me, you know.
And are your services only for college students?
So in the office, we used to say, you know, we serve Bearcats, but I have never once turned someone away. And I've had people come in and say, I'm not a Bearcat, but I live in Maryville and I really need a job and I don't know what I'm doing. I am going to help you. I just believe that everyone needs help. And sometimes I'm put in front of them to help and sometimes you are. And so given the opportunity to help people is what I kind of feed off of. So no, it's not just exclusively for Bearcats. I've helped a number of Bearcat parents, which has really been wonderful, especially in Kansas City the past few years. Some of the IT jobs have went away because of a couple of large companies have downsized. And so being able to help the parents with, which essentially also helps the children, the students, does me good. But yeah, I've helped boyfriends of students and parents of students, and I don't really care. So yeah.
Oh, very cool. I know that when we were talking earlier this week, I got to thinking, I was like, actually, I remember using the service when I was a student there. And it was before you worked there, we decided, but
Right.
yeah, I use the service too. So it's a great thing. So
Good. I feel like a lot of times, like when I was a student many years ago, I didn't use it, didn't even know it was there. But, you know, I didn't live on campus, and I think that makes a difference, you know. So I think that we do a better job of getting the word out now, you know, that we are there and we're in the ad building and it doesn't cost anything and you should just come see us. So
That was my experience when I was in college. I didn't use it and didn't know it was there. I too lived off campus, but that was one of my questions. How do you kind of advertise your services, or how do students know that you're there? And are you like connected with their advisors so that they can refer students, or how can you keep connected with students so they know that your services are there for them?
right. So we integrate ourselves into every department we can. My director, Jill Brown, is amazing. And if you ever are walking across campus and there's this blonde-haired lady that's smiling and talking to you before you ever reach her, that's Jill. She is just bubbly and happy, and that just generates through the whole office. And so we're constantly working with other departments. I call advisors frequently. I work with the Wellness Center. Sometimes you'll have a student that comes in and you know that they need help finding a job or an internship, but you know there's something else. So we try to make sure that whatever department they need help from, we're working with that department to make sure. So we all really work together closely campus wide. And so we have, you know, swag we give away, you know, we give away all kinds of things. We also have tours, like the parents who come in with their students or potential students who are looking at maybe come to Northwest, they come in the office and we get a chance to talk to them too. So we just really talk a lot about ourselves and what we do and invite people in. Big surprise that I talk a lot, right?
That's good.
that's awesome. And so along with that, so I know that things have really changed a lot these past couple months with the pandemic. And I know we're friends on our personal Facebook pages, and I know that you've been posting videos of your virtual office hours. Is that something that you're going to continue throughout the summer as well, where students, this isn't just like a fall semester and spring semester thing, like this is available throughout the summer? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So we are open year round. The only time that our office is closed is Christmas break and the occasional holiday that campus is shut down. So we don't really know when we're going back to work, although we did get an email the other day that indicated that we won't be going back soon. So we're still working at home. And so we will continue the virtual office hours as long as we're at home. And my personal opinion is perhaps we should even continue more social media presence after that, because, you know, social media is so ingrained into our students that sometimes it's just the best way to reach them. And so we will continue that. Now, by saying that we have virtual office hours from 10 to 2 every day doesn't mean that you can't email me at 6 o'clock in the evening and I won't answer you, you know? So especially if it's one of those students who says, I have a deadline, I have to have this job. So we are just as accessible as we ever were, and we will definitely continue that until we're back on campus, and then it will just look different. So.
All right.
That was all very well said, and encouraging, I think, will be for a lot of students and for people that aren't students.
Yeah.
Right. But I also want to let people know that I talk a lot about degrees and programs and majors, but just because you don't have, whoever doesn't have a degree, they don't have that piece of paper, does not mean that you're not valuable, and it does not mean you cannot get a job, and it also does not mean that COVID is going to send you to the unemployment line forever. So be aware too for your clients, as well as, because a lot of them don't have degrees. That's okay, you have other things to offer, you know. So I don't want anyone to think, well, that's not, I don't have a degree, and with all this COVID stuff, we all just have different value, you know. We're all valuable. So
Absolutely.
This is our new normal, and it sounds like you've really adjusted well with incorporating technology. And like you said, I think it's going to be a ongoing thing, even though we may be back in person. I think it's a great way to reach out to those that you otherwise couldn't.
I agree. Oh, one other thing I'd like to add if we have time. We have social media pages within Career Services on Twitter and Facebook. They're called Hire a Bearcat. We share jobs on them continually, all types of jobs, all locations throughout the country and the world. Also, there's a gentleman who has a page on Facebook called Nottoway County Employment Opportunities. Very valuable as well. And there are a lot of part-time jobs on there, more local, you know, that's more local. But if you're looking for jobs and you're not finding any, check out our Hire a Bearcat pages on social media, and also the Nottoway County Employment Opportunity pages. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Cool.
That's a really good point, because earlier, a few episodes back, we had Rita Wallinga from the Job Center, and so she does very similar stuff and then is always posting jobs out there. So good resources here. So
Right. Rita's amazing.
yeah, she is.
That's awesome. That you have a great job there helping students, and it's very important. We've gotten to know you a little bit as a volunteer, and we know that you have shared your passion working with post-traumatic stress disorder individuals. Would you like to share your what you like to do with that and your goal there?
Absolutely. So yes, you're right. I am very passionate about it. The reason why I'm so passionate about military veterans, law enforcement, first responders, everyone who falls into that service piece isn't necessarily because I've had a bad experience or I have a background in it. I just recognize that these people not only put their life on the line for us, they obviously give us their time, they risk their health, but they also risk their psychological health. And it's important for us to understand that physical injury is not only the kind of injury that they come out with, and physical injury is easier to see, it's easier to heal, but not the psychological. And so it kind of gets thrown under, thus that person gets thrown under the bus. And if you think about, for example, whether it's military or law enforcement, let's take law enforcement for example. They've helped a victim who's been sexually assaulted or in a car wreck or some really horrendous event. So that victim experiences that event. That police officer experiences that event and every other one that they're called out to during the course of every day of their work. And so they have all this buildup. So, you know, there are three main types of trauma. There's acute, chronic, and complex. The acute is often from a single incident, a mugging, a sexual assault, a car wreck, maybe a divorce even can cause some PTSD depending on the circumstances. So that's a single incident. Chronic is when it's repeated and prolonged, like the ladies and sometimes gentlemen that we work with who have domestic violence or abuse that continues on, and that becomes ingrained in them. And that's where the danger begins. Complex is exposure to varied, multiple traumatic events. That's where you're talking about the law enforcement, the first responders. You know, when you see one accident, you come up on an accident, that's really horrific, and it takes a while to get past that. But when you see a horrible accident 3 days a week, you know, that's a different ballgame. So I appreciate that, and that's why it's so close to my heart, because these people really need our help. So that's why I feel like it's so important for me to help. And another thing that I want to throw out there is a conversation Meghann and I were having the other day about what some people call secondary trauma. It's also called vicarious trauma, and that's simply seeing. So if I'm driving in a car and I come up on, you know, a shooting or a wreck or whatever, I see that, and it has a much stronger effect on me than one might realize. So this is why it's so imperative that we bring in some form of counseling offered when ambulance riders get back, and EMTs and paramedics, and they've had a terrible call. You know, that's why, because that secondary can be just as detrimental. That answer your question, kind of?
Yeah, and I can I am a Marine and served in the Marine Corps, so I can relate to veterans that have that. Not relate, I don't have it really. I didn't serve in any active combats, but I know a lot of veterans that have that problem, and I salute you for helping them.
Thank you, and I thank you for your service. And I would like to throw one thing in there in relation to that. So you had just made the comment, and this is so common, especially for our generation. Well, yeah, I served, but I didn't really. I wasn't in combat. I didn't go to the sand, you know, so I don't really count. My dad was like that. I don't care if you flipped pancakes or if you drove the general around, you served. You gave your time, your career, you offered your life for our country and for us and our families. So I want people to understand that I don't care what you did, you served. And it's important that you guys take credit for that. So off my soapbox.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Lori, did you have a website, and would you like to share your website and just some of the things on there?
I would love to. And I'll have to be 100% honest with you. As you know, marketing, not my forte. People are my forte, not so much technical. So this is always a work in progress. But what I have here is I just wanted it to be calming and for people to be able to look into it and it be calming in some way. So it gives an oversight of what I do. I help with trauma recovery. A lot of that is developing coping skills. And I know when I help in support group, I talk about coping skills a lot. It's important that we have them, and that steps off into self-care, which is important for us, whether we're male, female, old, young, whatever. Self-care is imperative because we can't take care of our ailing parents or grandparents or children if we're not okay with ourselves. So I talk a little bit about PTSD and trauma here, how they're linked. I try to give some good information there. My graduate degrees are from Liberty University, and I wanted Liberty University very badly because I wanted that Christian curriculum. So I do coach with a biblical perspective, and what that basically means is I feel like I can't help someone really if I don't do it through the Word of God. And so you'll see a lot of that on my website and in the way I talk to people. So it doesn't mean that I won't work with people who aren't Christian by any means. I love working with people, you know, but I do throw that in there too. It's important to me. So I try to give you some good information on trauma, PTSD. Another piece that I do is career coaching because I have some substantial experience in that. And I do love it when the students come back in and they say, oh, I got the job. I'm so happy. So that does my heart good. So I also do that. I do everything from working on resumes and cover letters. Everything I do in the office, I do for people. And primarily I work online through my website and through Zoom and so forth. So yeah, I would invite you to go to my website and get some good information. There are options to connect with me on virtually every page. My phone number is there, my email address is there. So I encourage anyone who even just wants information to reach out to me. It doesn't mean that we have to work together for 6 months, but if there's something I can help you with or provide you with some information, I definitely want to do that. So I do encourage you to do that. My address is just lorikhaws.com. It's very simple, just LORIK Haws.com. So I tried to keep that very simple and easy to find. Is there any questions you guys have in the website?
No, I don't think so. It looks great.
Good, good. I'm also on LinkedIn if that's helpful. So
that looks really, that's awesome. I love the waves.
it's very calming, I think. I mean, to me, it's calming. So I enjoy that piece of it.
Yeah.
And another thing that I meant to add and forgot, but the thing that a lot of people do is they think, well, I know that I've had some trauma, but so-and-so's had it worse.
Right.
Or this person went through something even worse and they seem fine. I can tough this out. Well, you don't know what they're going through. Maybe they're not sleeping. Maybe their nightmares are horrendous. So you can never judge yourself by the reaction of other people. Plus, you're just as important as everyone else. You have to be important to yourself. And so saying that you don't need any help because another person seems okay is really dangerous.
True.
So we've talked about a few different services that you offer. Can you talk a little bit about financially, what does that look like for people?
Right. So the last thing I want to do is to cause someone financial hardship or financial stress because they're trying to get help. But with the trauma recovery, we do work with that sliding scale because in all honesty, insurance companies are just so impossible to work with to get approved. And I don't want it to be detrimental. So we work through that.
And it's fair to say that your business is still like, you're still getting it off the ground too. So you're just, there's a lot of different things you're looking into and trying to figure out too. So like, that's cool too, to just kind of still be on that journey as well. But it's
Absolutely.
Your overall goal is not to financially burden people. And it's just, you'll meet wherever their need is.
Right. And that's the thing is that it sounds kind of wishy-washy with the financial end of my business. Because my passion is strong on helping our law enforcement, our first responders, and our military, and really anyone who's suffering from trauma or PTSD, to add financial stress to that is detrimental to them. So that's not making you happy or me happy. So to really go after my passion is to make sure that the financial needs are met as well.
Well, kudos to you on that. That I'm sure will be a great blessing to a lot of people.
Were the career stuff, was that free or does that cost students, or is it part of their tuition?
For students, it's just built in. It's just an additional service that we provide, just like the wellness center or student involvement, that kind of thing.
Okay. So Lori, you are also a volunteer with us, and you have done everything by you've answered our 24-hour hotline. You have stayed with people when we have brought them into shelter. You stayed with them all night. I know that you've helped some build their resume as they're out looking for a job and everything. So you were able to apply some of your work into your volunteering here. And you just do a number of other things. You've been down in the trenches with us, so to speak. And we just really appreciate you. Would you like to share with the viewers how awesome and fun it is to volunteer at North Star?
Thank you. Yes, I definitely would. I tell you, as you two ladies know, and our viewers don't, the way that I came into North Star was really kind of by accident. It was a master's program assignment. And the next thing I knew, those trenches you spoke about, well, I was digging them. So working with you ladies has been such a blessing for me. I love the way, if I go to stay in the shelter or I have the hotline and I'm answering the hotline, at the end of the conversation or when I walk out the door, I can think, I think I helped that person. I think that they're better than when I came into their conversation or whatever. I love the way it feels like a family, that everyone's included here. I also enjoy the fact that sometimes there are hard decisions to make for our clients. Sometimes we have to say hard things, but we all know, and sometimes everyone discusses it together, that it's the best thing for those clients. And so helping them understand that it's time to take hard steps sometimes, and then you see them succeed and you see them get new jobs and get new apartments and whatever they need. It's wonderful to be able to see that in our clients. So I enjoy that very much.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate what you do, and we are so blessed and thankful that you are on board with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's about all we have time for today. So you mentioned a few different links when you were talking about the stuff out at Northwest Missouri State, and then your website. So we're going to post all of those links at the end of our video so people can access those and know where to go for help. So Lori, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you. And thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we look forward to opening back up at some point. We don't know exactly when that's going to be because things keep changing, but you know that we will call on you for volunteers.
I will be here.
Right. Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks.
Everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. To receive help at Career Services, you can contact them at their phone number, 660-562-1250. Check out their website on nwmissouri.edu/career, or to contact Lori directly, you can email her at lorik@nwmissouri.edu. Don't forget about those Hire a Bearcat links on Facebook and Twitter. And for more information on Lori's guidance and counseling business, visit her website at lorikhaws.com. Check out her Facebook page or her LinkedIn page, or give her a call at 660-254-1344. And as always, follow us on our Facebook page at North Star Advocacy Center. You can follow us on Twitter at @NorthStar_AC. Or, because we're quarantined, you can go watch our videos on our YouTube page. Just type in North Star Advocacy Center.